Lofts. We all love them, we all hate them, but there's always an inevitable side effect of going up into your loft, and that's of course finding things you forgot about. And after huffing and puffing, you emerge with a few dusty boxes and a dusty red bag, added to your previous massive collection of crap that you're already struggling with. However, this is crap that you've owned and has travelled with you for many decades, perhaps. And some that might need two hands, but let's have a look in this one. Ooh, what treasures. Super Nintendo there. Ooh, in relatively clean condition. How unusual. Put that aside. What else have we got? Copy of Mortal Kombat 3. Bunch of games there. I have boxes for these somewhere. I'm a bit alarmed I didn't find those up in the loft when I was there. Ooh, a new wrapped controller. Not an original, but for the original system. A Game Boy printer. We'll keep that aside, won't we? Game Boy printer. PlayStation. Ah, yes, the old PlayStation's in there too. And of course, you can't have any sort of collection without a Mega Drive. Nice. So I'm going to probably tidy these up a little bit, and we'll have a look on the bench to see what else we've got there. But I did notice at the corner of my eye my original Game Boy. Look at that, and look at that screen. And it's rather serendipitous that I found it because, of course, recently I ordered, there goes the Game Boy printer, I ordered this, which is a Bivert backlight. So that'll be amazing fun to try. Looking through the sticky, dusty mess that is all of this stuff, I definitely think I'm going to work on the Game Boy today. This is a better aspect, isn't it? Kids outside screaming, washing machine on, and me at the back office bench trying to record a video. So we have our Game Boy printer. I'm just going to check it's got batteries in it, or rather hasn't. Phew, that could have been nasty. I wonder if the paper still works even. I guess we'll never know until we fire that up. Let's put that aside. We have our Game Boy camera in blue. My bag is looking a bit distorted now. Oh wow, I don't have the outer case for this, but I played this so much, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Such a fantastic version of Zelda. It's probably one of the best, really. And of course, the mandatory few hooky games. Now what's weird is though, I'm sure I had a bunch of original games too. I don't know where they've got to. A bunch of foam in here. I wonder what that's for. Anyway. Oh, hang on. We'll look at that thing in a minute, but what's this? Mystery cartridge with a bite mark in it. So there we have a few bits and pieces. I do have some original Game Boy cartridges in the house somewhere. I definitely came across those the other day. And we've actually got a screen, and the plastic is pretty good. I wonder if this works. So we should pop some cells in it and see if it powers up. Let's pop these cells in. Now interestingly, you can see I've sabotaged, I guess that's not quite the word, cannibalized a Super 250 in one cartridge so I could fit this, which is an oscilloscope, believe it or not. It's an oscilloscope cartridge that I got from Elector magazine. Right, moment of truth, will it turn on? I'm going to zoom in a bit. Da-da-da-da-da. Ah! It did turn on. Well, was it that bad? It's amazing. To think that it was that bad. Let's go put in one of the other cartridges, 1081. It might have a game that'll... That's Street Fighter. It's almost certainly not Street Fighter. It's a Street Fighter art though. Oh no. Come on. Right, oh that does say Street Fighter 2. It says Street Fighter 2. So we're going to have a game of Street Fighter 2. Oh. Right, I think we get the idea though. You can see the screen, it's a bit pants. I mean, that's really what I wanted to show you. Because it's I thought they're pretty unusable these days, and I thought it's quite legit to buy one of these mods, and it was about 12 quid, and apparently this is something called a Backlight Bivert mod. I'm just going to rip it out of the package. From Land of Game Boy. Ready? Let's see. Win a custom Game Boy, blah blah blah. You get some wipes, and you get a little chip, a little IC with a bit of wire and a resistor, just like that. And you get, I think this is the backlight. So I think it's a combination of two things. So you have a backlight that you replace behind the screen, and you put this chip in which changes the let's think how it works. Okay, so this chip changes it so it's basically inverted. So instead of being black on white, it becomes white on black. And then there's a polarizing filter here to turn it round again, because I guess that way round it's sharper, and then you've got a backlight to really boost up that light, and it all works marvelously. But the first thing I need to do really is go online and see if I can get some instructions for this. Okay, I saw a bunch of videos on there, so I know that there are some instructions to be had, but I think it's quicker we just crack on. Let's just crack on, and maybe if we've got time we'll test it out with our camera. I'll see if there's any pictures of younger me looking like a gormless idiot. No comments. Right, by the way, don't use these as a cutting mat, doesn't work. Okay, I'll have to get myself another one. Right. In fact, I might just put a piece of paper down too, because the chances are if you're doing it on something like a soldering mat, it's going to be covered in lots of scratchy, itchy things. Okay. First things first, just whack it open using your fancy schmancy, quite cheap to get, tri-tip screwdriver. And this thing, I've got so much value out of it, I promise you. It's really weird. It came with a Game Boy Advance kit I bought that gave you a backlight, and I'm trying to think what it was called. It was called, oh, like a Super Flash, or it had some name anyway, some stupid name. They always have these kits. And it came with this, and I've just used it endlessly over the years for every single Nintendo thing. It's amazing that it's just lasted so long, because, you know, nowadays when you get a tool that's included in a kit, it barely lasts one go, doesn't it? It's the kit. Screwdriver is just literally like the IKEA Allen key of doom, which is going to round itself off before long. God, I remember getting this. I got this when I was in university. I swapped a Casio television with one of my university friends at the time called Ajay. And I don't know, he probably wasn't a games player, he was a lot smarter than me. But I was, but I'm the one who lucked out, because a Casio TV isn't worth having nowadays. It doesn't work anymore. So that's the innards. I've never opened one up before, actually. You can see there's a ribbon cable here. Oh, bang, boom. And that's the main part. So I think there's two parts to this mod. What? There's thumbprints in here. Now, speaking to Elliott over on the Retro Future, and he was saying that. He was saying that out the factory you get bloody thumbprints on that, and you do. Look, there's thumbprints on that. Amazing. That is incredible. Those are period thumbprints from the late 1990s. Okay, cool. 20-year-old thumbprint. Preserve that in amber. So the bit we want is the screen, which means we're going to have to undo a bunch of these. And I'm going to use this thing. Where am I? Yeah. I'm going to put the screw... Oh no, these are regular screws. We've switched now to regular screws. But it does look like there's a million of them. And I'm guessing that's because it's got to support fully all of the D-pad stuff. So maybe if you're in here, maybe you could give a little clean. You can see some general muck around the edge of the case, so if you need to, I'd get in there and do that. I was going to grab something I thought would be useful as well. On the back of the screen there's a film, and that's what you're removing to fit your light. And I'm not sure how clean that'll come off, but if you've got some IPA around, that's going to be handy. And something to bear in mind, you might want some non-linting cotton buds. So you can hit it with that. And look how these ground planes attach. See these tags here? If you look in closely, you see these little spring tags? Those are actually springs that attach the ground plane of this screen PCB to that fingerprint attractor I just showed you. And that keeps them all at the same potential, which is quite cool really. Man, this is really cool. The fact that they're so nicely made. Robust bloody things. Right, let's give it a little bit of a blow there. Because remember, if you can, you want to eliminate most sources of dust. If you've got one of those humidity generator steam things, nebulizer, you probably want that running. That would probably be helpful. So I see some clips here, and I don't know if the screen is clipped in with it or if it's just held in through other means. Seems to have come off a bit there. Oh, phew. I didn't want to discover, you know, like prizing it up only to discover that you've got to undo something from the other side. I think you might have to, though. I don't see clips, but it has a lot of resistance, actually. Oh, I can see there's a carrier for the white part there of the screen. Let's see. Just going to bend it back gently. Okay, it looks like I'm actually trying to break the whole thing. So let's stop, reset, have a think before you break your bloody screen. It looked to me like this might have to come off, so I'm going to just be very ginger and see if that is the case. Look at this. Get my knife. That would be annoying as hell, wouldn't it, to break that? Oh yeah, I think there's some screws in here. Oh, that's going to be fun to clean up, isn't it? Probably ought to have got another one of those. I assume they're still available. Oh, I thought it was a screw, but it's just a the LED. Unnecessary. Well, in for a penny, in for a pound. That's why you're watching this video. So you don't have to make the same disgusting sticky mistakes that I do. It's amazing the amount of dust though that was behind that. It makes you wonder how it got in. I'm just looking to see if there's any other screws on here. Something, it feels like something's biting it here. I'm just really working my way around it very gently. I'll get a bit of a screwdriver just to... Oh! Did come. All on its own. So the only thing I can assume is that there's some... Yeah, there's an adhesive around the screen. So yeah, you probably can get away with that, to be honest with you, without popping this thing off. Still, I like adding work. Again, dust everywhere. And that's the old screen module. So from what I picked up, you've got to take your screw out here. And you've got to take your screw out here. Okay. And then you've got to get the back of the screen off. And if you're doing this at home, of course, you're taking a lot more care than me. You'll be able to do this nicely. So these white blocks apparently have to come out as a priority. So you see this white block here? And remember, if you damage those ribbon cables, you're done. You're done with this. So I guess these won't. Look, I'm actually just ever so gently prizing this out. See there? Woohoo! That's a scary one. This is when you're going to wish you had some good tweezers. I wish I did. Still have not got. Get on and order some bloody tweezers. So I'm going to try to pick off. They said there's a layer on the back that you've got to remove. Ooh. Just checking this out. So I can see ever so that there's ever such a slight layer there. You can just about see that. I'm going to hold it up to the camera so you guys can see it, and I'm going to be a bit ginger. Ah, you see the knife just did get in there. It's definitely an edge. I've definitely got the edge there. You can see that. So I'm going to work that edge a bit. Having a little think about what tools might be useful. Oh no, that's okay. It's coming. If I've got them, I'm going to get my forceps.
Now what follows is a whole process of me attempting to take this layer off, and I do get there in the end, and I will warn you now, it's probably going to take 10 to 15 minutes of me messing around. I would say if you're that keen, you should watch the next few minutes and see the troubles it can cause, because in the footage you're seeing now is Neil from the Retro Mancave also struggling in a very similar way, because he also completed a Bivert project recently, or at least is in the process of doing one, and made exactly the same mistake. So if you've got two seasoned, hardened retro hackers failing in the same ways, you might learn something from our mistakes. So feel free to skip ahead a little bit and dart around, see if you can find it. If not, just keep watching so you can avoid the sort of pain you're seeing in the little clip above.
I'm not going to lie, this is absolutely petrifying. Doing this puts so much strain on this ribbon here. I'm almost sure it's going to break. You could cut that little band that holds it or desolder it and then desolder that ribbon, but I'm kind of like thinking that could break it too. So I'm going to just go for this kind of horrible way of working it from this angle, and if that doesn't work out, ooh, we'll take the screen off, but hopefully we won't damage the screen too much. And there is a foil. So basically you can see there's two layers. There's a plastic layer, but there is a foil layer too. So I don't know what we need to do to ensure, because you really want that foil layer to come up with you on this journey. So I'm just trying to curl it up so we can try to fetch it with the other layer, but yeah, probably should have watched those tutorials, see what people suggest. That's definitely a tricky one. Let's see if we can just remove the regular film anyway while we're at it without breaking anything. I have to admit, on the videos I watched, they didn't seem to have this much trouble, so I don't know if they've changed up a formula or something. Right, so anyway, that's that bit off. But we really have to get this, you can see it there, this foil off. You know what, I just don't think that's going to happen. I think I'm going to work out how we get this off so I can flip it over. And that way I can definitely destroy this screen. So, we have some bent wire here. Oh, that just pushes through. This is crazy beans. I'm just turning my soldering iron down to 250 because I just don't know what or how this is even soldered on. Sometimes you see Game Boys with weird stuff going on with the screen. I do wonder if it's that layer getting messed up by something. I'm just trying this edge because there wasn't much going on here. Okay, that's scary tenacious. Okay, I had another go at that and I tried to braid it off and I could see this membrane getting more damaged. I don't even know now if the membrane even bloody works. Gonna try this way. Be very careful. If you slip and you hit that ribbon, it's game over, sunshine. And I'm sure someone's shouting at the screen right now telling me what I did wrong, but I can't hear you guys. So I'm just going to have to roll with this right now. I'm not too pleased about it because it's a lot of effort, and I feel I might have really damaged the screen, but let's see. Oh, that's rolling it up quite nicely. It's rolling it up as a little roll. The nice thing about this is at least I'm pushing against the frame which is attached to the PCB, so I don't feel like I'm stressing too many things here. Might have to change my angle or something when I want to get some of the other parts, but for now it's okay. Ah, oh, you are joking. Guys, that's not the whole screen. Damn it. Look. There's a whole other membrane underneath that. That's what I think you must have to remove, because that will take the silvery bit and all of the other bloody stuff. So yeah, dig a bit deeper. Hopefully I've not cacked this ribbon cable up. But yeah, you can see it's underneath the polarizer because the blade is slightly different colour there. Right, that's a whole different kettle of fish. Now let's absolutely hope, I absolutely hope I haven't screwed this up. Nothing like the sound of kids screaming in the garden to help you get on with your projects. I applied some heat from my hot air gun and that seemed to do the trick. It certainly helps a lot. Look, you can see it, the knife sliding through. I'm guessing if we didn't cock up the first bit and tried to take it all off as one big layer, it would have probably come a bit better, because clearly the polarizer, which is this part, is a bit of a, it's a bit bitty in that it's basically wants to crumble, and that is a pain in the bum if you're trying to avoid having to get deep into the screen. And as I'm doing this, I'm really aware of the ribbon cable. There's one on the left and there's one on the bottom. Ooh, and you definitely don't want to cut through either of them. See if we can get a pull here. If we can get just enough meat on this. It's really annoying. You pull it and it just sort of snaps a bit off, like a really crappy wallpaper. Oh, yes. That was horrible, wasn't it? Right, I'm going to clean this up with some IPA and then we'll figure out how to actually fit the part. I've given it its initial cleaning with IPA and it kind of seems to be running. I can hear the music and I can kind of see things on the screen. So before continuing, I really don't want to waste fitting this to something that I may have broken, because let's face it guys, this one took a lot of abuse this round, didn't it? It really did. So what I thought we'll try to do is to gently take this out and then see, they did come with some polarizers, and I'm going to have to figure out which way around they go anyway. And this is the screen itself. Oh, come on, you monkey. It's so tight in there, I think I'm just going to chop the bag. So it's in the bag there with a couple of polarizers, so we need to figure those out properly. Is it a couple? Looks like. Or maybe it's just one piece. And that's going to go behind. I'm just going to see if I can use this in any way at all to see the screen. In fact, I could kind of mock fit this. So you've got a white background there. If I turn I can see the screen is working. There's just no way I can get it visible, which is kind of weird, because you'd assume that with all of this stuff going on that we'd be able to, but who knows. I don't know if the front screen has any sort of polarizing properties either, so you never know of all these weird combinations. So I think the only thing to do is just to continue. So we've got our bit of wire, bit of black wire, our Bivert mod, and our resistor. So this is where the power goes to this board here. It's on this capacitor, and the right is negative and the left is positive, and you need to go via the resistor. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Just chop the little wire here. So I'm just trimming up this resistor. Again, I don't know what the instructions say you should do, but this seems like a decent enough way of fitting one. Let's get the old soldering iron ready, and we're going to first tin it. Make sure the contacts are nice and good. So it shouldn't really matter if you put the resistor in the positive or the negative, so whichever place you've got room will work. Going to add it there just like that. I'm just going to make sure my soldering iron's warmed up now. I had it pretty cold earlier because I want to make sure that these wires just go on first time, so we don't want to mess around. So I'm going to tin that resistor leg, and that's the negative. This is the positive. Now you could make a mechanical connection if you're worried. And by mechanical connection I mean crimp the wire on. So technically speaking, if we actually powered this up, it should all work. But before we do that, let's just slide this in where it should go. So I'm basically sliding it in as is with that PCB connection. Now, something I did notice is there is a film on here, and it's kind of clear underneath. I'm going to leave that on for now because I just don't know if it should be there or not, basically. If you look at these lights, you know, like the LCD lights that you put on your ceiling, they have all these layers, and I think they're all needed. But it's a bit dirty, this one. I'm just going to clean it. There's a few lumps and bumps on there. Let's just get those off, just in case that's going to stay in there. So just want to make sure it's nice and flat, because I'm thinking the more things we can remove in terms of defects from this side, the better, because it's going to be shining straight into your eyes the whole time. So if you see a speck of something, it might be annoying. And if it turns out we don't need to put this thing in, then that's fine too. Just take it off. Oh, still a bit. Tiny bit of IPA on our little swab. Got to be careful with IPA, by the way, because sometimes some plastics and things are a bit sensitive to it and you could end up scratching them. I think this is okay. Pretty good. Right. Let's hold that by the edges. I'm starting to become a little bit more ginger when I'm touching everything, because I don't want to introduce too many contaminants. I can already see on this screen a couple. I don't know how they got in there. And it's handy to just have a Q-tip. So if you see something that you don't like the look of, you can try to go in, give it a little rub. Really, it's being tenacious. The glue, that glue on that layer. There you go, that's getting it. was really quite tenacious, so you will find spots to do. Okay, so we're nearly there now. Get that slid in there. So that is effectively the backlight. So I'm going to power this on and let's see how it looks. Oh, look at that. That's interesting, isn't it? Already you can see it does make a massive difference. Bloody hell, that's good. And even though I can see some like visual defects on the actual lighty thing, once you slip this in, they just disappear off. I guess it's just another layer. I'm wondering if you could fit this a couple of different ways. So yeah, I think for us it's already sort of pre-cut really, so that's the way it'll be. And you can see the colours are inverted because it's white on black, so that's the purpose of that chip we're going to be fitting, to flip those around and give us a black on white. So let's see, how do we deal with this, because it is cut big. Ooh, it does have, apparently it does feel like it's got some layers on it too. If I just, there's a bit here on the edge, let's have a look at the edge. I'll just touch that off. I don't think it's sticky, it just doesn't want you to be touched, so it's just protected right now. I'm just going to check one last time as well, because it does seem that you've got like an A and a B, if you see what I mean. I'll show you. You could fit it right way round, like that way. Okay, or you could fit it that way. Oh, that looks crazy beans. No, that's the way you want to fit it. So try it both ways before you commit, because that looks like a crazy mirror ball. I don't know if you get that in the camera, but that does look really wrong. So I'm going to leave that like this. There's basically something there to keep that corner up. What do we decide? Yeah, so that is the top. Okay. So I don't want to touch this surface at all. This is going to be slipped in and left in forever. Just going to try to catch the edge of something. Not your fingers. Too many oils and filth on your fingers. This is where you want to really control dust, by the way. You do not want any dust on this. Oh my word. That was hard work. Woohoo! Okay. My word. Just by the edges. And look, I'm doing a lot of flicky things that will try to introduce dust there. Man, that's tricky. Oh, my cat! My cat just went, the most human type of scream. No kitty's a bad kitty. I can see a tiny speck. Please go away. Just going to see if it's even feasible to take your coat. Yes, you can get it off. Ah! Well, that's one way of giving yourself a heart attack. You know, you're just making it worse. I think I'm just going to pop it in now and then try to take any other dust off while it's in there, because, oh, Jesus. It's terrible. God, I'd like to say it's been fun, but it hasn't so far. If If you've got one, get some of those puffer things for cleaning your lenses on your camera. Dust is a massive problem, and I've got a lot of it in here. But as I'm going to replace that front screen, I'm going to be able to get to that at some point in the future. So I've basically just wrapped the wire around here for now. I'm just going to see if there's any way to make this work out without it getting in the way. Yeah, I think there is. Come on. If you're going to do it properly though, you could just shorten it. Significantly shorten it. That would be fine too. If you could just keep it. I'm snagging. Maybe a pinch here. Give it a pinch. Give it a dog leg. Get in there. That should be okay. It just has to stay there long enough for you to get this thing together. Comply with my demands. It might be. It might be there. Ooh, it was. Wow, even more dust under there than I remember. Still, you probably can't see that on camera, so maybe if I don't mention it, shh, you'll never know. Let's get the microphone back in. Microphone, what is this? Speaking of microphone, I found my second joystick for my Famiclone. I was curious. I was like, where the heck has that thing gone? I really just could not locate it. But I found it in this same box of stuff that all this lot was in. So that was cool. Get all these in. Oh, good. I feel we're in the finishing line now. So the screen's in. A bit dusty, but that's fine. Let's not worry about that. So I've got the module here, and I've been eyeballing, and I think I know what it wants you to do, and I think this wire is a bit of spare ground that we probably won't need. But let me show you. Basically, I think the idea is you're going to solder it here, here, and here. You see it aligns over those pins nicely? And then there's 2 pins here that you're going to have to lift and solder to this board instead. So I'm just going to make a little mark with the least useful pen for marking to show which 2 pins I want. And while the soldering iron's warming up, I'm just going to finalise those and just get ready to lift them. And that's going to be the tricky part. Although to be fair, it's a lot nicer. I've seen in the past people having things with all sorts of modules and wires and doofers going on. You know, you don't want that. I'm going to move the soldering iron into my left hand, bit of left hand, and I'm going to put some of my dirty fluxy brush on there. So let's go for this first one. And by the way, if you've been following my Twitter, I fixed my Atari ST in. You might have heard me moaning about that in, I think it was an earlier video for sure. And it would have been the video probably on the Casio piano. Right, so I've lifted it by putting pressure on the back, and I'm just getting there we go. Just getting my scalpel in so I can just give it a nice old lift there. You probably can't see it at that angle, but I'm just going to twist it. You can see. You might be able to see it's just standing in the air, standing proud. Probably ought to have done the other one first so I can get in there, but I don't think there's an elegant solution for this. Maybe a small length soldering iron would be handy. If you've got one of those USB ones, I mean, I've been using a USB one an awful lot recently because I was fixing my Atari ST in the front office, which doesn't have the same gear, obviously, and that USB thing was invaluable. And that's the second one up. Good. You'll be able to see that more clearly now when I put this thing in. So, slide that in. And what I'd advise is let's solder those main contact pins first, so that's all locked into place, and then we'll bend down those other ones. Ooh, you saw that rocking and a rolling. That's okay. We're just going to get the first one really aligned up. Although it's probably alright. I think it was quite compliant actually. It's fine. They're through hole wires anyway. You can't go wrong. As long as solder's in there and it's got down to the board underneath, that's going to be a pretty good connection for you. I think that's probably about as flat as it's going to sit. It's sitting at a slight angle. Yeah, I think that's to be expected really. And then you've got this ground here, and I have checked, so we have some debate on this. This is a ground here, this pin here. So you can obviously put the wire to there if you feel that way. That is also a ground, and this is also a ground. So it's all ground, 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 plenty of ground. I kind of feel this one, they should have probably put a through-hole wire on there, because I reckon I can just get that ground onto there with my big boy soldering iron. Yeah, there you go. I think that's going to be fine. And then I'm just going to take again my scalpel blade and I'm going to bend these down, being very careful because scalpel blades tend to snap and fire off into your eyes. And I'm just going to touch a little bit here. Boom, that one's done. A little bit here. That one's done. A bit more on this one. There. I put a bit more on that one because I wanted it to match. So that's the mod installed. Looks good. And let's just get the screen in. It's exciting now because if it just works, that's it. Put it all back together. And there's not really much to put back together apart from those screws. That's a really nice module. If anything, that's way easier than I expected because I didn't think it was going to just pop on like that. So we'll just pretend that's how we want it. Not the lights off. Let's have a better chance of seeing what it's going to do. Oh, look! That's what you want, isn't it? King of Fight. Oh no. Takara. Well, I think that's a bloody success, don't you? I mean, that's worked really well. Woohoo! So there you go. That's how you do it. So hopefully you'll have equally good success, great success with your Bivert fixes, but I think that was bloody well worth doing for sure. Have a go. Please like, share, subscribe, and ping me on Discord if you ever want to chat. As ever, thanks for watching.